bit harsh. That's the one complaint that I have, I suppose. I don't know if it's necessarily a fair complaint, but I'm just going to sit here in the slight dark, if that's okay with everyone. I'm sitting by the window in the living area of our apartment, and I can just hear the bird calls coming through, and there's different people who live in this area who I was just chatting with earlier through the window, which was quite fun. And yeah, it's just nice to feel the breeze and everything too. So I thought I would change it up a bit rather than just sitting in my room. Today was such a busy day, I don't even really know where to start. After I finished talking to you, I tried to go back to sleep, but was not really successful. So I got up at around, I was pottering around my room for quite a while, but I wound up getting up at around 7:30, 7:45. Took a shower, walked to the Rothberg campus, which is, we're in the student village right now, but the campus is where all the international classes take place, and that's where the cafeteria was, where we had coupons for breakfast. And everybody was under the impression that breakfast was only being served from 7:30 to 8:30. So we were all kind of not running, but walking very briskly up the road, and none of us had ever walked to the cafeteria before, so there was quite a bit of confusion there. But eventually we all made it. We found out that the cafeteria is actually open from early, I didn't find out exactly what time, until 6 p.m. And basically the food coupons that we have are good for any time of day. There wasn't a huge selection. I've been spoiled on Monday and Tuesday. Obviously we were given such amazing meals, but there wasn't any fruit or anything like that, but there were pastries. I don't know if I've been telling you very much about the food. In some ways it's quite similar to what we would be used to in North America, but one of my favorite things here that I haven't really seen, or if I have seen it, it's at the deli counter at the Rito Bakery or something like that. But there are these wonderful pastries that are mostly triangular, sometimes they're square or whatever, that are most often covered in sesame seeds. Somebody in the group said the other day that, if you're in Israel, it has to be covered with sesame seeds, and it has different fillings. So it could be potato, it could be cheese, it could be chocolate. There's a few different options. So I grabbed 2 pastries this morning. Oh, sorry, I'm getting a little bit tired. One of which was filled with a sweet cheese with dried fruits, and the other one that was a savory cheese. So I had the dried fruit one for breakfast with a cup of tea, which was very nice, and then I saved the other one for lunch. So after breakfast, we all met up at the front of the Rothberg International School, the same place where we had lunch on, I guess it was Monday, where the botanical gardens are. So it took a little while for us to get everyone together because Simon and Avra had gotten lost on the campus, and it is very confusing. So we eventually met up with them, and then we met our guide, Danny Herman, who also is known as Danny the Digger, and he took us to Jerusalem proper, not like the outskirts where we are, and he took us to the Mount of Olives for a lecture on the historical background of Israel. And he really started at the beginning, and he talked until the present day. So I think we got there at around 10:30ish, and I think we had finished the lecture by 12:30. I have to admit, as you all know, I slept not very much last night. This is now Wednesday that we're in, the 7th, but I did drop off for a little bit in the middle of the lecture, but it was very fascinating. He's a wonderful storyteller, and that was very, very interesting. I have to confess, though, that I was a little bit disappointed when I found out that the Mount of Olives was not, as I had pictured it, a mountain completely devoid of houses with just many, many olive groves on it. I don't know why I thought this. I think I was maybe being a little bit naive, perhaps, but I was disappointed when we were driving through this area and Danny was saying over the microphone, this is the Mount of Olives, and I thought, no, it's not. This isn't the Mount of Olives. And there was a certain disappointment there. And I suppose one could connect this to, religious imagination and the way that people think about the Holy Land when they've never been there. So when we were taking pictures in front of the Jerusalem skyline, where, of course, the oh my goodness, I can't believe I've forgotten the name, the great Muslim shrine where Muhammad supposedly touched off from Jerusalem into heaven. I think it's called the Dome of the Rock. Yeah, that's what it's called, Dome of the Rock. Everyone was taking pictures, you know, getting people to take like selfies of them or whatever. I guess it's not a selfie if you're not taking it, but you know what I mean. People were all having their pictures taken with the Jerusalem skyline in the background. And we were milling around there, and there were just all these tourists and everything, and there was a camel and a donkey, and I just, in that moment, I felt very much like this place that I had imagined and dreamt about was being, if not commodified, almost trivialized. And I don't say this in any way to insult the people who were taking pictures. I'm happy that they enjoyed it, that was a fun thing that they could do, but I just so strongly felt like I didn't want a picture taken there, that it would be making light, for me personally, it would be making light of something that was so important to me. I mean, the Mount of Olives is one of the most rich geographic places of historic Christianity. And I just was very, I can't describe it any other way than to say disappointed. And I just felt very let down that this place that I had imagined was not what I had imagined it to be, I guess. So we sat and listened to Danny's lecture, and that was very interesting. Like I say, I missed a little bit of it, but everything that I did here, I was familiar with most of it, but some things I wasn't, and it was really wonderful to get a full timeline again. And then afterwards, as we were walking back to the bus, I was sort of paying attention to the wall, or the old wall around Old Jerusalem, and I noticed two arches that were shut up, that were closed. And so I asked Professor Delansky what they were, and she didn't know. So I asked Danny, and he said that it was the beautiful gate, also known as the Gate of Shushan. And I asked him if it was the East Gate. And he said, yes, that's not such a common name, but that is the East Gate. And immediately I felt myself again becoming, like the disappointment just seemed to sort of wash away, because for those of you that don't know, the East Gate is the gate that within Christianity is believed to be the gate that when Jesus comes back to earth is going to be the gate through which he enters Jerusalem. And so to see something, again, that's so historically significant in that moment, in its rightful place, in the way that I had perhaps imagined it, was very uplifting. So I was really interested in the way that I reacted to all of this, because I hadn't expected to at all. So that was interesting. Then we got on the bus, and we went for lunch, and bathroom break, and what have you. And then we made our way to Tel Lachish, which is one of the oldest sites of, it was the second most important Israelite site, Israelite city in Israel before, sorry, I think Christina.
Hello. I was like, how is it? What's going on?
I'm making a video.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just going to keep rolling.
It's all happening.
How
was the light? Were you doing
I was doing it in the dark because I don't like this light. It's too harsh.
Okay.
That's
All
okay.
right.
So then we went to Tel Lachish, and that was really interesting. It's, like I say, the second most important Israelite city in Israel during the time of like the biblical time, and it's actually mentioned multiple times in the Bible. And we got to see some of the archaeological dig and excavation that had been done there. Plus there were many different wildflowers and lots of pottery shards lying around, so it was just a treasure trove of archaeology. After which we drove around, we went to Modi'in, which is the historical site of the Maccabees and the Hanukkah uprisings. And we also just were traveling around and visiting different places as we were on the bus and just looking around, because we weren't able to go to everything because everything closed at 5. We also stopped somewhere else. Do you remember where it was, Christina? We stopped at Tel Lachish, and then there was one other place.
The Bar Kokhba Caves?
Thank you, Bar Kokhba Caves, which is from the 2nd century, was a group of, the 1st century, a group of Jewish rebels against Roman rule. who hid out in caves and conducted a kind of guerrilla warfare against the Romans. And we got to actually explore the caves to go into them. They were very small, but once you were able to go through the passageways, you came into this space that opened up and that had all of these triangular enclaves in the rock, which Danny told us were actually for housing pigeons. So these caves had been built before, and Archaeological used them for his rebellion. So it was a really cool day, so interesting, and just looking at all the ancient history and all the archaeology was really fascinating. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.